Hey guys, coming in. It's a bit frantic. As you can see, we're packing. I'm off to Sweden today. Never been, and definitely want some of your tips on which coffee shops to hit up. But I'm going because Lindsay Vaughn is, conquering another mountain downhill skiing. So, I'm going to be cooking for her and the team. But whilst I'm gone, my team has got some very special content coming your way.
Hey guys.
Hey everyone.
Hey team.
How's it going?
Hey team.
Hey everybody.
I'm Don.
I'm Maddie.
Oh my god, this
is gonna be amazing.
Hey team. I'm Don.
I'm Maddie.
And we're the team that brings you Dan.
We bring Dan Churchill to life every single day.
As you can see, Dan's not here. He's in, where is he?
He's in Sweden.
And in place of him, we're gonna be cooking one of his recipes from his book for you guys.
It's called The Healthy Cook. And today we are making sweet potato gnocchi with an olive oil, garlic, and sage sauce to go on top. Super simple, super easy. We're gonna get it done in less than half an hour.
All right, let's do this.
Sweet.
All right, Maddie, so what does this recipe call for?
So the first thing to know is our ingredients. We're going to be using 1 large sweet potato, a cup of buckwheat flour, a teaspoon of salt, 1 egg yolk, and a tablespoon of olive oil. Then we're going to be finishing it off with a super easy olive oil, sage, and garlic sauce to top. So first we need to preheat our oven to 180 degrees Celsius, so that's 350 Fahrenheit.
Where's your oven?
My oven is over here.
Oh, this is her kitchen, by the way.
Don't worry, I got this.
Alright, and while she's doing that, Maddie, I have a question for you.
Sure, go for it.
So, how did you get introduced into the Dan Churchill team?
So, believe it or not, I actually have a cooking and food related Instagram of my own. It's called East Coast Health, if you're not already following it. And Dan and I got connected through that Instagram. So I was making some of his recipes and some of his breakfast foods. And so we connected through that platform. So the next step is going to be that you want to chop this guy up. So we're going to first take our favorite Dan Churchill tip, and we're going to start by using a flat surface. So we're going to create that by cutting this guy in half. Then we can stand it on its end, and we can get to cubing it. And I'm just going to aim for about 1-inch cubes, more or less. That'll just determine how long it'll take to cook the sweet potato.
So what is gnocchi?
So gnocchi is, believe it or not, a type of pasta. If you're not familiar with it, it's usually made from potatoes. Sometimes you put some cheese into there, typically ricotta. And it's usually served with a pretty simple sauce. For a sweet potato gnocchi, you might often see it with like a brown butter and sage sauce, but we're keeping this one completely dairy-free. We're not adding any cheese, and we're gonna make our sauce using olive oil. The next step, bring a pot of water to a boil and add the salt along with the potato. Then we're gonna turn the heat to medium and cook that for 10 to 12 minutes or until it's tender, and then we're gonna drain it. All right, so let's add the salt. Our water is boiling. All right, so now we're gonna get our sweet potato into the boiling water as well. Should we try and use a cup?
Yeah, careful.
Let's use a measuring. Let's use a Pyrex.
Dan, how do you do this?
Help
He
Dan.
makes it look so easy.
All right, that's gonna be cooking for about 10 minutes.
So while we're waiting for that to finish up, we're gonna do a quick Spitfire Q&A.
Yeah, so this is quick fire, so just the first thing that pops into your mind. All right, pancakes or waffles?
Ooh, waffles.
Poached or fried egg?
Poached.
Kale or spinach?
Kale.
Hiking or biking?
Biking.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Night in or night out?
Night in. Least favorite vegetable.
Least favorite vegetable? Oh my god. Bok choy. Unpopular opinion.
What brought you to New York?
This job, working with Dan, more opportunities to work in food, and all of my friends.
Favorite thing to do on the weekend?
Usually try and get outside a little bit if I can, but it's been pretty cold in New York these days, so I would have to say staying in and watching Netflix.
Alright, cool. That's all I got for you.
Sweet. We're going to improv our sauce here. So our sauce is going to be a drizzle of olive oil, which is currently heating up in our pan. We're gonna add this clove of garlic, or 2 cloves, and then we're gonna finish it off with some fresh picked sage leaves and get those nice and crispy and let them infuse, and then we're gonna pour the sauce over our gnocchi. You can also add some cheese if you want at the end, like some
3
Parmesan.
ingredient sauce, love it. And
So
I've actually
easy.
never used sage before.
Yeah, so sage is an herb. It's really delicate. It's very, very fragrant, almost floral.
Should we try one?
Yeah, of course. You wanna get me getting this in?
Oh wow.
Goes in. Dan also says you can always add your garlic to cold olive oil too. That'll make more of like a garlic oil, and that's a good way to add even more flavor. All right, so you wanna help me pick these sage leaves?
Yeah, sure.
So we're just gonna take them off the stems, and you could save the stems for pesto. They have as much flavor, if not more, than the leaves. The next step is that we're going to put our tender sweet potato, it's just sort of starting to get soft, onto a parchment lined baking sheet. This will allow it to dry out a little bit, and then it'll be much, much easier to smash with our flour and egg later. This goes into our preheated oven for about 8 minutes.
Okay, and that does not look like any flour I've ever seen. What flour are we using?
So this is buckwheat flour. It's made from something called a buckwheat groat, which is a gluten-free whole grain. And we're using that to add some dryness to the gnocchi, to kind of dry out the moist.
You don't like the word moist?
Try and dry out the sweet potato, which has been cooked by this point. And then we're also going to be using 1 large egg to kind of bind everything all together. But that's it. That's all the ingredients you need. You can spice it however you'd like. We're just going to be using some salt and pepper in ours, and then some salted water to cook it in, but you could pretty much go crazy here.
Why buckwheat?
So buckwheat is a gluten-free whole grain, and it's super nutritious, really high in protein, and it's just a great baking alternative. It has this kind of like super fine texture. So while it doesn't mimic an all-purpose flour, it comes pretty close. So now, since we're only using the yolk of the egg, we're going to separate it. So pretty simple. I like to try and get the egg into equal halves, and then just pass the yolk back and forth. You don't want to go too crazy, because if you're reusing the whites for something, you don't want to get any of the yolk into the white. We're going to drop our yolk into the bowl that we're going to use later to mix everything all together.
All right. Ooh. Is she hot?
She's hot.
So we're gonna let that cool for a little bit. Then that's going into the bowl with the yolk and the flour, right?
Correct.
And then after that, we're just gonna mash it.
Yep. So we're going to kind of give our sweet potato a light mash with the yolk and buckwheat flour, and then hopefully we're going to turn it into something that looks like pasta dough.
All right. So while I'm mashing this, at what point does the flour go in, or let's say like how mashed do these things have to be?
So you're looking for almost like rice consistency. So you want it to be pretty mashed, but it doesn't have to be pureed. So if there's some little, pea-sized pieces, that's all right. But just keep in mind that we're going for a dough. So ultimately, you want it to be pretty smooth.
How does this look, Maddie?
It looks pretty good to me.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good.
Cool. All right, so the flour. We're gonna add about half the flour now, and then we're gonna give it a little mix to combine. At this point, you can switch to a spatula if that makes the most sense, or a wooden spoon.
What's one thing that you make really well?
One thing that I feel like I make really well is like vegan desserts, especially raw vegan desserts.
Oh, that's so true.
There was a period of time where I was making a lot of them, and you just kind of learn what flavors go well together and what provides the texture you're looking for. So I randomly got very into that.
If you guys haven't seen it already, follow her on Instagram. Her food is dope.
I'll put the tag right here.
Now, how can you tell if it's too wet or too dry? Like, what is your litmus test for that?
Sure. So you're looking for the consistency of like a pretty dry dough. Pasta dough is pretty dry because you want it to be able to roll it theoretically through a pasta roller. So you're looking for something a little bit drier, but you don't want it too dry that it's floury. Watch the smelter.
Oh, it'll work. We have to do Dan proud. Dan, if you're watching this, post in the comments down below as to how we're doing. Oh, don't do that. Oh man. Also, fun fact, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Maddie, because she interviewed me for Charlie Street.
That's actually true, way back in the day. You dropped your resume off though, just like off the street.
Yeah. So like right before even Charlie Street was even like on his feet, like they were building a space and they had help wanted flyers, and me having had just moved into Manhattan, thought I need a job really quick, and off a limb I applied. They were wild by my resume, right?
We definitely were. The first thing Dan said was, wait, he has production skills? Let's get him in here. Oh, look, yum.
And that's what our dough looks like.
So we have this beautiful mound of dough. We're gonna put it back on our worktop.
Yeah, this is a good dough. It's like staying together.
Yep, it's not dripping out of our hands. Plop her down. Okay. So we're gonna just flatten it and divide it into 4. And then here, there's yours. Move her over.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna roll it out.
Make sure your surfaces are liberally
well floured. And just want it, I'd say maybe a little less than an inch long.
So they should be about yay big.
Making
Thumb to scale.
So another step that you can do to kind of take it to the next level is you can roll the gnocchi down the tines of a fork. So set yours up like this, like mine. Okay. And then take one. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna lift the fork up and then you're gonna roll the gnocchi down it.
Ah.
And it's kind of probably hard to see on camera, but it gives you these little ridges.
It's a little bit of texture and decor.
Exactly. And it helps the gnocchi, once it's cooked, to hold on to sauce too. Once you have rolled out as many gnocchi as you'd like, then we're gonna bring our pot of water back to a boil over here. And we're also gonna salt that water too. You wanna salt your water because it's pretty much the primary thing that's seasoning our gnocchi. And so you actually want your pasta water, if you were to taste it, to taste like the ocean. You want it to be super, super salty. The pasta isn't gonna absorb all that salt at all. Most of it will be left behind in the water, but if you don't, then the pasta will just be less flavorful. Water is boiling. We are going to drop the gnocchi in for about 90 seconds.
90 seconds, all
They don't
right.
need long to cook.
Let's do this.
Let's bring that guy over.
90 seconds.
90 seconds is up.
And Maddie, what is your verdict on these guys?
I think they came out great. So they've puffed up a little bit. They're holding their shape, which they should. Obviously, they have taken on the color of that buckwheat flour, but you can see that orange poking through.
They're definitely still holding together after being boiled up, so yeah, that's a win for us.
Huge win.
Chewy.
Yep.
Not too grainy from the flour.
Nope, not at all. Flour's kind of cooked off,
Oh, and it has this like natural sweetness from the sweet potato.
and a little bit of that nuttiness from the buckwheat flour too.
Add that with our sauce.
Should we plate it up in the sauce?
Yeah.
All right. So let's heat up our sauce again. So now we're just adding the cooked gnocchi, which are cooled for just a minute, back into our hot sauce, which is olive oil, garlic, and sage. And then you just want to stir that around and coat it for maybe 1 minute. You want everything kind of well coated in that garlic. And it also helps that we didn't completely cook our garlic before because it's still nice and golden brown. Sage.
Oh man.
Sage gets
Sage and
really
garlic.
flavorful. And then you can garnish.
Garnish. All right.
We have some microgreens here. These are actually broccoli microgreens, just over the top. And I always like a little bit of black pepper. And that's it.
Wow. Dad would be proud.
I think you would.
I'm proud of us.
Same. We did a good job. Go team. Really good.
I'm also glad that we made some hearty gnocchi.
Those are huge gnocchi. You can make yours whatever size you want.
Yeah, if you're
We go big.
big boys and gals like us, definitely make them this thick. And because they're made from like mashed sweet potato, it's like very dense. It's very filling, so a little will go a long way. All right, we're gonna channel our best Dan Churchill into this little outro. You wanna start it off?
Well, team, today we made a butternut squash. Well, team, today we made a sweet potato gnocchi, packed with flavor, packed with nutrients, super easy to make. I think this all total maybe took us 30 minutes. Sauce, super easy, just 3 ingredients. I think this is a winner.
Now, if you like this recipe, please go ahead and like this video and hit subscribe for weekly goodness. And check you next week, friends.
Bye.